We got an update from the school, and we're going to tell you about it in a moment. But first, let's start with another university controversy here on the East Coast. Harvard has hosted some legends over the years. Winston Churchill spoke there in 1943. There was John F. Kennedy in 1962, Coretta Scott King in 1968, and Mother Teresa in 82. But here we are in 2013, where they've invited a sexist, misogynistic rapper named Tyga. Here are some of his greatest hits. Tyga, fine.
10, 20s on your 100 deep VIP, no guest list. TT Raw, you don't know who you with. Got my other no, we ain't celibate. Better have my money. Bring back 100, take 20. Take a life, now it's my life. Need a that can cook clean right.
Wow, Bob, that was
So now we go to our resident rap expert, and no, not performer Dana, but Bob. You have studied rap extensively over the years.
I'm a long-time historian on rap music. I haven't listened to the thing once. I'm not sure I don't understand what the big deal is. This guy it's clearly he's misogynist. He's all the nasty things you talk about, but it's Harvard. I mean, these people invite all kinds of wackos to Harvard, and
they invited you.
They invited me. I was there in '89, and I was protested. People protested me, but I wouldn't agree with this thing this punk says, except that I don't see how you get a big. I mean, what are you going to do? They have the right to hire who they want and let it go.
I don't think it's the right thing. But number one, the rapping isn't even good. It doesn't even come close to Dana Perino. It's boring, unimaginative. I mean, it is basically stuck in 1994. Mm-hmm. But the thing that it's the fact that I'm with you. I don't care who goes there, but at least be fair. You can have a lady-hating rapper, but not a God-fearing Christian. A welcome mat for one person becomes a warpath for another, depending on their political ideologies or their beliefs, especially if their beliefs happen to be somewhat traditional, then they turn on them. I think that's the problem, right?
All right. Bowling, what do you think of this? Is Harvard doing the right thing by letting this guy, perform? What should be the call here?
I guess, look, it's a performance. These lyrics are no different than any other rap lyrics that are on the street right now. You cannot believe, I said yesterday, you can't believe some of the lyrics. And this is typical.
You listen to this stuff?
I hear so much of this, Bob, you have no idea.
He has a son.
I have a 14-year-old son, and by the way, every white 14-year-old boy in the suburbs thinks he's a rapper. Okay, they all stand around in groups and freestyle like this. Hopefully, my son doesn't use those terms and he's not misogynist like that or race. I hope they're not doing it, but they all think they're this guy. Yeah. They really do, and it's just Harvard. What are they? They're 18 to 22-year-old. Same kids.
But he's a low level. This guy's not a big rapper. Even in music criticism, they considered him a joke. So
but you said you thought they had to invite, say, a Christian songwriter. This is Harvard. You think they're going to do that?
Yeah, well, that's my point.
Yeah. Okay, yes. I got your point then.
The point is,
now we go to the rapper himself.
There's been a number of online, petitions for people to get involved, to have Harvard reconsider the position here of having him perform. In their statement, the College Events Board and Harvard Concert Commission stated, in respecting those students who do not wish to attend the performance, just say, if you don't like it, just don't go, but would still like to take part in Yard Fest, we have moved back the headliner start time. So now they're backing him up so that he's not performing early on. He'll perform late when maybe people have left. Is that good enough? Eric, no?
I'm having a hard time to find the outrage in this story. Look, it's Harvard. It's a liberal school. They do these types of things. If you don't, if there are students that are against it, then they can.
Somebody buys this dude.
Don't go.
This dude's.
Well, I think he performed for one of the Kardashians, right? So
but you're talking about a vacant brain.
Well, there were other students. It's not. There were other students that complained about this because they said, look, we work on things like rape on campus or LGBT type of organizations. And they were the ones that were offended. So they first brought it to the attention and said, well, maybe we shouldn't do this here on our campus. That's also their right to protest it. I just don't know what has happened to the sensitivity. Or just even appreciating how bad that is. So, for example, when Rush Limbaugh called Sandra Fluck a slut, And then he apologized for that after a ton of criticism. It didn't take him long to apologize because I think he realized right away that it was taken the wrong way. It was a lot of people on college campuses all around that came to her defense because she was the one being attacked by crazy right-winger Rush Limbaugh. Then you can go on a campus and have somebody say, well, you can't even hear what he said because it's all bleeped.
Because it's bad.
And no, he's actually invited to come and do a performance for the students. There is a double standard there.
But Rush was losing. He has 20 million people he talks to when he about slut. Excuse me, fuck.
Sandra.
Whatever her name is,
Let's call her Sandra.
I'm about to get myself in a deep hole.
Yes, you are.
And he was losing advertisers, threatening to lose advertisers.
No,
of course he's going to.
Okay, that's just like. But overall, why is it okay? Why doesn't anyone ever talk about and take on the language and and the attitudes that are described in rap music?
I'll tell you, it's racism of low expectations. No one wants to express disgust of the quality or the content found in a lot of music because they don't want to be perceived as uncool, but more important, they don't want to be perceived as bigoted. What we've done now is what we've said, that there are certain denigrating elements in society that are being perceived as part of a culture. And because they're part of a culture, you cannot point them out as being pernicious.
Wrong.
And this is where the First Lady, the President of the United States, really have potential to come in and say a lot of this stuff is bad. The one thing that drives me crazy is there's a morality in here that needs to be addressed. The First Lady and the President prefer to inject morality into things like obesity and climate change, artificial moralities, when in fact this is a legitimate moral problem and they could be real heroes.
Yeah, but why? Yeah, why, Eric? I know you don't think this is a problem, but why is it okay for him to demean women, to demean black women? If you had a white rapper going there saying something like this, there'd be outrage.
I'm saying it's a product. It's commerce. If you start saying you can't do that, you're censoring.
No one's saying that.
You're saying what?
No one's saying that.
That's what I'm saying. You say there's a moral issue going on.
Yeah, you can address. You can address the decline.
You can't say I want the woman to blah blah blah.
They can do it, but
you say you're censoring his lyrics.
No, but I would never say that. It's not about censoring. It's about having the guts to address a decline in human commerce. That's all I'm saying.
But here's the people that should be addressing this. People like Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, people like that, because this is generally tended to be directed at the minority community. It exploits one of the worst things that happen to minority communities, whether it's the idea of having kids out of wedlock, whether it's using guns, whether the rest of it. And I'm a little bit disturbed that Michelle Obama's got her plate full, and maybe she could step out and talk about this. And by the way, obesity is a serious problem.
But it's not a moral. It's not a moral problem.
It's a moral one with me.
Real quick, Sophia Nelson, who's the author of Black Women Redefined, Dispelling Myths and Discovering Fulfillment in the Age of Michelle Obama, feels that this is an opportunity for the First Lady, for Michelle Obama, who has been quite vocal in issues like this, that why aren't we hearing her on this particular topic, saying she's been vocal for women, across the board over the years. So why not mention in a speech or address this? And
do you have any idea the can of worms you're going to open up if Michelle Obama takes down this one? Tigra's lyrics, takes him down because of it's misogynist or it's sexist or whatever it is. I mean, then you're really going to look at probably 80% of the rap songs, maybe 50%
but we're
of other
asking
songs.
for moral consistency on the part of the First Lady and other women.
Well, it might be more dangerous.
We got to go to USC too. Go ahead,
more
real
dangerous?
quick. Yeah.
When a kid is a first-person shooter in a video game and starts blowing people away indiscriminately in an airport.
Here's the good news about rap: you can't understand it.
Okay, thank you, Bob. I'm glad we waited for that illuminating
I thought it was important
comment. But you remember the story yesterday from you on the East Coast to the West Coast. Listen to what he had to say.
California Republicans I just showed you are 30% of registration in the states because they're really stupid and racist. Republicans are 82% white. The Republican Party of California, as I say all the time, on the record, in print, and on radio and on TV, is the last vestige of any real white people, and that's what this is.
Okay, so that was the professor we were talking about yesterday, Derry Schrago, and the interesting thing is USC is defending this professor. They have released a statement that states the freedom to take unpopular positions and the freedom to express those positions publicly are at the foundation of what it means to be a faculty member of a university. We firmly protect their right to express those views, and that's Elizabeth Garrett, USC's provost and SVP for Academic Affairs.
Can I respond to that? No one says he doesn't have the right to say that this is typical self-righteous liberal tactics, and when they're saying that, like, oh, what you're trying to do is take away the right. No, we're not. We're just pointing out that this is biased dialogue that is occurring on campus, and it's denigrating American higher education. However, we're not saying don't do it. We're just saying you shouldn't do it.
Let me be consistent. I'm sorry, Dana. Let me be consistent here. There's a big difference between what this guy did and what Harvard invites someone in who does a performance at night where you have an option to go and watch this performance. These kids are in the classroom. They have to get they've signed up for it. They're a captive audience to that man, and that is the defining line between what Harvard did and what USC did, and they should definitely not be defending this guy.
And that's why the parents should call the university and pull their kids from the class. I mean, make a stand if you think you're against it. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that in the provost, if they do annual reviews of performance of the professors, they ought to bring this video in and just decide if this is a kind of quality teacher, not for what he said, but he's the most boring professor I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, that's what it's $52,000 to $60-something thousand at USC will afford you. Really? That's how you work so hard to put your kids to a school like that to listen to that garbage?
Let me be the only person at this table, which is really unusual, to disagree with this general comment, because what this is basically saying is this is Greg Gutfeld's poster child for all the liberal professors and all the
Where are the exceptions, Bob?
No, there are plenty of exceptions. You don't get into this kind of stuff.
Again, yesterday I think it's time that you pull up some of those conservative professors that spew conservative right-wing stuff to their captive kids.
I haven't been able to get to McKinney yet.
They haven't been able to print those pages of the Beckel Almanac. They're apparently...
How about the Virginia Military Institute?
Just get them.